Hi, this is Cynthia Moa. Greetings from Ghana. Ghana is beautiful and everything is fine here. Everything is so much more perfect than in America. So I just wanted to give you guys good luck greetings from Ghana. I wanted to further introduce my topic for my final project, which I titled Art Through the Perspective of Latin America from African Influence. I wanted to first begin by establishing a firm definition of art. I feel like a lot of definitions are opinionated and they're all over the place. They're floating all around. So, in order to get you guys to follow along with me well, I want you guys to be understanding of a very firm and solid definition of art. According to dictionary.com, art is the quality, production, expression, or realm according to aesthetic principles of what is beautiful, appealing, or of more than ordinary significance. I feel like a lot of people define art as different things that are, I guess, around us, or they come in different forms. Like it's a way to express yourself. And in terms of art, I feel like one of the most important aspects is actually physical art that is made by a painter or that is made by someone who expresses themselves artistically. In Latin America, visual art was strongly influenced by the Spanish, Portuguese, and French, who were in turn influenced by Italy. So I feel like Latin American art is so rich in culture that not only is it defined by something that is in Latin America, but it's defined or influenced by many different cultures who have contributed to it to make it what it is today. A few facts about the visual art in Latin America. From the early 20th century, the art in Latin America was greatly inspired by the constructivism movement. And this was a movement that was founded in Russia in 1913 by a leader named Vladimir Tatlin. It quickly spread from Russia to Europe and then to Latin America. So after it was in Russia, founded there, it came to Europe and then came to Latin America. An important artistic movement generated in Latin America is muralism, and this is represented by many great painters such as Diego Rivera and others such as Jose Clemente Orozco and David Alfaro. And I think the most important Mexican painter or Latin American painter that I can think of is Frida Kahlo. She remains the most famous Latin American artist still present today. She painted about her own life in the Mexican culture that influenced her style of painting. And to this day, I'm sure her art is very, very expensive because she's obviously really good at what she does. Another way that I feel like people express themselves may be through religion or through, the religion they grew up with or found it along their way through life. Um, the primary religion throughout Latin America is Christianity, but mostly Roman Catholicism. So I feel like people can use their religion as well as, something made by hand to express themselves through art. Another aspect would have to be music. Latin American music included in most of the countries in Latin America is a simple rural conjunto music of northern Mexico to a sophisticated, I guess, feel of Cuba. You can hear many different cultures or many different voices of people speaking throughout music as you listen to Latin American music. Um, the thing that contributed most greatly to, I guess, Latin American music would have to be Nueve Con, Con I can't really pronounce this well. It's Nueva Canción movement. I guess with the use of Spanish still being used in the music, this greatly influenced how Latin American music is portrayed today. I also feel like Latin American music and as well as I guess its films and its people has a bit of sex appeal. I feel like it's a very romantic culture. I feel like through the music, it shows us this romantic aspect in the Latin American culture. Another way people can express themselves of art is through film. Um, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the many movies that Professor Lopez has made us watch in this class. And I guess through the movies that we watched in this class, I'm going to go through and give you guys an example of something that I found artistic or may have been an expression of art that was represented in all the movies we watched. I want to first start off with 174. That was the first movie we watched. I don't know if you guys really remember that too well, but I feel like Sandro's, I guess, artistic aspect in the movie was that of him growing up. I feel like his art was his maturity. I interpret, I guess, this art as something that can bring about, any form of art can bring about certain emotions. And I feel like the way he grew up made him into the person that he was, that put him in the predicament that he eventually landed in. So it brought about a certain emotion in him that made him do the things he did. He used the way he grew up to kind of um, as a reason as to why he did what he did at the end of the movie. Um, I guess the art here is not the actual final product, but the process in which it goes through to become something final. The second movie, I Like It Like That. I guess the art in this movie was love. This was displayed through a mother's love for her child, a wife's love for her husband, and vice versa, and as well one's love for family, and so much more different aspects of love that was in this movie. Um, the third movie we watched was titled City of God. The characters' art in this movie, according to me, would have to be their means of survival. I think that it was very artistic how they went about fending for themselves, protecting one another as well as protecting themselves. It was a more survival aspect that drew me into that movie. So I feel like art draws people in. Art has an audience, whether it be that the audience ranges in many different forms, it still draws them into that. So I feel like what drew me into this movie was how hard these kids were and how much they wanted to survive in a world that wasn't even, I guess, worth surviving in their town called the City of God. The fourth movie that we watched was called Crash. And I feel like the art aspect in this movie was through stereotypes, of course. The fact that they realized who they were based on how they thought was how art can sometimes lead to disaster. I guess art can obviously bring about emotions in you, and stereotypes are something that we think about daily. I guess this movie brought out these stereotypes, and it brought out something in these characters that otherwise would have never, you know, been came to the light. It would have always remained in the dark. So I feel like the art was the fact that these characters embraced how they thought in their thinking process of other people, and going about changing how people thought about them. The fifth movie we watched was titled Motorcycle Diaries. And this movie, I would have to say that their art was the love that Alberto and Ernesto showed to people who were different from themselves. Throughout this movie, there was also a bunch of photographs of people, indigenous peoples, stuck in these places that they were basically forced to live in. And I feel like those little captures of those moments made the movie even more artistic. The sixth movie we watched was For a Lover of Country, the Arturo story. In this movie, his art would have to be his musical talent. No, all hands down. He changed people with his music, and at the end, it ultimately changed him. He changed himself. He moved himself out of a country where he wasn't given the freedom to play the music of his own choosing. So I feel like the art in this movie drove him, or his talent, to be better and to do something other than what he was used to. Lastly, dance is another form of art that I would have to consider as another expression as to how people, express themselves. I guess Latin American dance has a sexual appeal as well as a culture. It became popularized outside of other countries of origin, and salsa and more popular other Latin dances were created and embraced into the Latin American culture in the early and middle 1900s, and has since been able to, keep this, I guess, sexual appeal, and emphasizing sexuality both in Latin America and outside the Americas. This concludes my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it.